Hey everybody, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and today I'm in Winfield, Kansas with my good friend Tim May. We just got finished teaching a workshop here pre-Walnut Valley Festival, and on our videos we've been talking about improvisation and using this various scales, major scale, major pentatonic scale, major blues, blues scale, and the minor pentatonic scale. And so today I just want Tim to give an example of how each of those things might sound as we go through chord progression. I'll play some rhythm, Tim will play through each one of those so you can get a sense for how they sound and how they sound different against each other. And then at the end, after we do that, we'll take a break, and then I'll have Tim play through the chord progression and mix and match those things, and we can talk about that for a minute. So let's go ahead. Tim, why don't you play the order, whatever order you want to do. I'll play the progression. You call out which one you're doing and play through that, and then call out the next one like that.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So here's just a major scale, G major scale over G, C, D. 1, 2, 3, 4. G major pentatonic, C major pentatonic, D major pentatonic. Here's G major blues, C major blues, D major blues. So what's left? Minor pentatonic. Here we go. G minor pentatonic. 1, 2, 3. G minor blues.
Alright, so you can get a sense there of how they differ in sound, and like I recommended before, practice each one of these by themselves until you get a feel for them, until you get it in your ear and under your fingers, and then after that, a cool thing to do is mix and match them within a certain progression. So why don't you give an example of that? You want to just give the example, or you want to call them out as you do them?
I'll try to call them out. That's the next step, is to call them as you play.
Here you go.
1, 2, 3. G minor blues. C major blues. G major scale over D. Still G major scale. G major scale. C major blues, G minor blues over D, still G minor blues, diatonic C, this is all diatonic G scale, G major blues, no C major blues, straight G scale over D, here's all major blues.
So real quickly, you're mixing those things together, but you can't blend all those notes from all those scales all the time. So how are you differentiating? Are you keeping them in the context of a certain chord and you don't change to the next scale tonalities until you change chords? Is that basically how you're keeping them all straight in your head?
Yeah, it's easier to move when the chord changes. So maybe I'm doing a G minor pentatonic. Goes to C, maybe I'm going to C major blues, and then maybe over D, I'm doing D major blues. Goes back to G, maybe I just go back to the G major scale. Remember, you can play G minor pentatonic over all three, so when it goes to C, I actually can play G minor over the pentatonic over there. Scale, which you're targeting D notes, D chord tones.
And along the way, you're doing the chord tone targeting thing also.
Right. That's right.
So that keeps that in context and that straight. Okay, so that's a way the videos that we've been doing over the last few weeks, that's an example of how you can use each one of these, how the tonalities are different, and then how you can mix them up when you're creating your solos. And so the idea is to practice each one of these until you get them under your fingers and get the tonalities in your head. And then after you've done each one for a while, you know, try solos on all your songs using one of them. After you get a feel for that, then try another one. Just the whole solo, use that one. And then do another one. And once you go through all that process, then you can try to mix and match them together. And you'll have a feel for which ones work best at which times in which tunes, right? That's, is that kind of way you recommend people go about that?
Yeah, so do it kind of like the way we just did it, just play each one over all three chords, and then go back and maybe just one at a time, maybe change it. So say if you start with the major scale, and then maybe go to G major scale to C major blues, back to G major scale, targeting chord tones, and try not to do too much at one time and then mix them up. You can actually switch gears and go to a different, you know, maybe blues back to the major key within a measure. It's just a little harder to do.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go, folks. That's an example of how to mix and match these things we've been talking about over the last 3 weeks, actually last 5 weeks. And so this is Tim May and Dan Miller coming to you from Winfield, Kansas. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for watching, and we're doing this for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and thanks for watching.